I know, right?
Yeah, no natural.
That'll work very well for.
Yeah, got it. How are you doing? I'm good. I know, it's a bit much.
Oh, that is awesome.
It's ready.
I love that so much. Good morning, good morning. I know we've got a few more haunted agents running around here somewhere. I'm sure we'll be in soon. Thank you to all of you who have embraced the full spirit of the silliness of this holiday. It's my favorite team meeting. And we have a pumpkin. Alright. So calendar will be out this Friday. I cannot believe that we are already to November. So if you don't have the Linktree link saved, make sure you save that now, take a picture of it, grab a card from the marketing bar, so that you can get a copy of the most recent version of the calendar. We will of course still have it printed here at the Market Center, but want to make sure that you're all planning ahead. And then Morning Momentum will continue every day in November. We're getting some good participation and traction with that. So if you've been tuning into that, you can continue tuning in. If you haven't, please come check it out. So we are 8:45 to 9:15. We have a firm stop at 9:15 most days. We are done. Actually, no, we're 8:45 to 9. So we're every day 8:45 to 9 because we're not doing the role-playing portion. So 8:45 to 9, we have a firm stop at 9. Most days we're done a couple of minutes early. It's just a nice little jolt to start your day with some positivity. And then Broker Ask Me Anything will be on Wednesdays in November as well, 11:30 until 12. That is via Zoom. So Zoom in and bring Lindsay your broker questions, listen in to other agents' broker questions, talk to her about football. What else, Linz?
Anything.
Tell her a joke of the day, but stay connected and know that you have that lifeline for compliance every week. For Baby Friday, aka my favorite day of the week, thank you to all of you who have brought your puppies in. If you haven't yet, please do it. And if you don't have a puppy and you need a four-legged fix, come on in and see other people's puppies because it's a lot of fun. Business Planning Clinic, please take out your phones, take out your notes and get this scheduled right now. So Business Planning Clinic will be Tuesday, November 12th from 10 until 2. This will be all live here at the Market Center. We will start in a kind of general session from 10 until noon. You'll do some work with Boyd Brown, our OP. And then we will do a little bit of kind of expectation setting and overview all together. And then we will break into groups based on your production level, goals, experience with putting together business plans. Because my goal for this day is that you leave at 2 p.m. with your business plan completely put together. I don't want any homework. I don't want anything that you're going to go home and think about, put together later, because I know how that goes. And you will go home with the greatest intentions to get it done. And it will be end of October 2025. And you'll look up and go, huh, I never did finish that business plan from last year. So to avoid that happening, we are really focused on setting this up so that you can get your business plan completely done and dialed in. And that the conversations that you are having and participating in are really relevant to your business, where it is now, to your goals, and to what your focus is. So Business Planning Clinic, November 12th, be there or be sad.
Or be sad.
Reset your password. Who has reset their command password already? Oh, that makes my heart happy. I'm raising my hand. I have not reset my password because I can't. If you go to reset, so just quick information, there was a security breach. All agents, staff, leadership, everyone has to reset their password for command. Just sent out instructions on how to do that. Keller Williams also sent out an alert that you needed to do this. We are running into some people, myself included, getting error messages when they go to reset their password. So if you try to reset your password and it says that you can't, or that the password that you're trying is doesn't follow their policies, even though you looked at Jess's instructions and it follows the policy, please shoot Jess a quick email and let her know, because we're trying to get trouble tickets in on any accounts that we haven't been able to reset. All right, 7 listings taken last week. That's a little bit spooky, you guys. That's not the kind of spooky I like. I like when we're in double digits and it's like, ooh, it's so spooky that we took so many listings. So your homework this week is to, after you finish trick or treating, go out and take a listing. But congratulations to those who did: Lisa Capavella, Jordan McQueen, Danielle Leonardo, Abigail Mumady, Wendy Laughlin, Cameron Burnside, and Kim Orlandini. All of them. Any coming soons that y'all want to, do we have a slide for that? Okay, any coming soons that y'all want to share about? Okay. So we don't have coming soons. We only have 7 listings. So I'm gonna ask you next week. You're gonna have a coming soon next week. I'm not gonna cry. Okay. So turn to the person next to you. Lindsay, you can look at Tim.
I'll break the spell. I have one coming.
All right, let's hear about yours coming.
It's probably not until like second week of November.
That's all right, but it's coming. That's soon.
Close.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about it.
It's gonna be Oh, yeah.
I have a condo in the Marmalade District area, probably in the mid 300s, I'm guessing is what we'll list it for. So
Okay.
I literally know nothing else about this.
Condo, Marmalade District,
Yes.
mid 300s. When you have a buyer looking for that,
Yeah.
they want to be somewhere early in November. See Lindsay, and she will.
So
give
the
you
seller's
details.
buying a property right now, closes on the 11th, and then we'll immediately list her condo. So
All right.
Yeah.
So turn to the person next to you. Lindsay and Timmy can look at each other. Raise your right
what
hand.
listing do you got? Yeah.
Raise your right hand. I solemnly swear
I solemnly swear.
on Jack Skellington
I'm not going.
and the Hocus Pocus Witches
Switches.
and Beetlejuice, either the original or the new one, whichever one I like more. Higher numbers. And Beetlejuice, the new one or the original, whichever one I like more. That I will take on a listing focused activity in the next 7 days that is designed to help me generate a listing.
It is designed to help me generate a listing and make my team leader happy.
And make my.
Team leader happy.
All right, thank you. Now that you've all sworn, I feel much better. All right, your glance at the market is in the slides, also on Linktree. Be sure that you are using this to be the data expert, the market expert, the economist of choice for the people in your life. And that you remember that this is a great tool to leverage when you are having conversations with your clients. The beauty of this data is in comparing the data over time. And so make sure that you are staying on top of that and using it when appropriate. This has been really helpful for me when I have needed to have price reduction conversations, pricing conversations, or prepare buyers for what they're going to experience when they enter the market. And now it is time for the scary stories that we tell in the dark. So I've asked some of our, ooh, we have spooky. Hold, everyone pause.
If I don't do this stuff.
Oh, wait, turn off the lights.
Here we go.
Much spookier. This is much spookier, I say. Thank you, I appreciate that. So I've asked our ALC members to share their spookiest stories. And then we'll open up the mic. So if anyone else wants to share their spooky stories, they can. I will kick us off with a couple of spooky stories in my career thus far. The first, I was gonna come up with really creative details about you guys, but I don't have them, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't get coffee this morning, I don't have the brain cells to come up with them. So, the bottom line, capital T truth and facts of it are that I sold a, multi-unit property, it was a duplex that, Ted Bundy had rented when he lived in Utah. And my partner, my business partner and I were joking with the listing agent about like, ooh, is it a haunted house? Has it been scary? And the agent looked a little bit like, I don't know how much to say. And I said, well, we did find a lot of shoes in the wall. Now everyone go, ooh. That was spooky. Second spooky story to tell in the dark. This one is like less spooky, but have any of you been showing property and you just see something that's like terrifying and then lives in your brain for free for an extended period of time? So I was showing this house and it was kind of a quirky house anyway. And I opened up this cabinet, like this weird cabinet that was like under the stairs that was mostly like eye level. And I open it and there was just this doll, staring at me with its dead doll eyes. And we may or may not have run out of the house because it was terrifying. So that's, I think, the scariest thing, like it's made my heart beat that I've ever seen, showing a property. And then my spooky horror story is actually the first house that I ever sold. I was brand new baby agent and I was calling renter lists. This was when dinosaurs walked the earth and people had home lines. And I had basically a list of people's home phone numbers that were renting that I would call through and say, with interest rates at an all-time low, they were 6%, by the way, with interest rates at an all-time low, have you ever considered owning instead of renting? And then if they said yes, we'd have a conversation and I'd get them with my lender and get them pre-qualified and that was fire I'd work for. So the first person that this worked for was this cute couple, and they had an incredible budget of $90,000 to buy a single family home. And so we were out in Sunset, Utah, because at that time we could buy a single family home for right around $90,000 in Sunset, Utah. It was still not a great home, but it was a home. And we're looking at this property and there had been renters in this house. So it was maybe 1,000 square foot house. Renters had trashed it and they had left all of their trash behind. So there were empty like food containers and bags from ships and drink containers and miscellaneous garbage everywhere. And there was a prolific collection of adult entertainment material mixed in with all of this garbage. There were VHS tapes, there were magazines, and I am baby agent trying to be professional and showing this house while surrounded by adult entertainment and garbage. And the wife says to me after we do the tour, what happens with all of the stuff that these renters left behind? And I said, oh, don't worry, because I knew this one because I practiced. And I said, the contract guarantees that the home will be delivered to you broom clean and free of debris. So while all of this is here now, by the time you take possession of the home, this will all be cleared out. You're still gonna want to get a clean through in here. You're still gonna want to make sure that it's to your standards of cleanliness, but you're not gonna have all of this left behind. And she says, oh, no, we want it.
You want it.
I said, what? And I guess that her father, his profession was to clear out apartments after people had moved out and left things behind and trash everything. And she said, you would not believe the treasures that he has found. And I am looking around this property in Sunset with the adult entertainment basically as wallpaper and carpet. And I was very, very confident there was not treasures to be found there. But I went back to the office and I talked to my broker and found out how to phrase in the addendum that all of the garbage and porn would be included in the sale. And I sent off the offer, and it was my first offer I had sent out, and I was so excited, and I was sure we were gonna get it without any issues because we had put together a great offer. And they countered me. And what they countered was the removal of the garbage and the porn, and that they wanted to keep all of the garbage and the adult entertainment that had been left behind. They did not want to include this in the sale. And there was a moment that I looked at this and said, is this really my life now? And I went to negotiate for garbage for people for a $4 commission in Sunset, Utah. But we got through it and we closed the sale and the sellers got to come through first and remove anything that they were going to remove. And then the buyers got to keep whatever garbage was left at that point. So everyone said, ooh. All right, so we've got our ALC members. Who wants to be our first scary story team? Microphone, okay. Bud?
Yeah.
All right.
hang on.
You gotta go up a little bit.
I have to go up front.
You do, yes.
Oh,
Very
front.
Mario?
Okay, so this was about 8 years ago, I think. And I was showing property to an out-of-state client. They were moving from Florida and they wanted a big problem, like 6,000 to 10,000 square feet. We were looking for them and there weren't a ton of those around, but we found a short sale. Those were a thing back then. And it was out in high, so we go check it out. And it was like 9,000 square feet on a massive lot, big detached shop area. So we're walking through the home and it's in okay condition, right? But there was some short saley kind of things going on, like rain flipped over, sinks ripped off the wall, nothing, whatever, it's a short sale. But the price was good. So they were thinking about it, they were considering it, okay, maybe this way. So then we go to the shop area. And we walk into the shop area and it's a pretty nice little office area at first. And we're like, okay, we're winding back. And then there's this like utility sink and there's a giant sticker above it and it says, no skins, no sheds, no poops. And I'm like, I wonder if this guy did taxidermy or something. And it was like my first thought. Cause like the office part felt like, maybe this is taxidermy-ish or something, right? Either way, that's weird. So we keep going and we are walking down these steps that take us down into, I guess, this giant open space. And there's spray paint all over and it says, Stone versus the FBI raid, such and such date. And then it had a phone number. I'm like, okay, this is weird.
You called the number.
I did call the number. So we go down we're going down the steps and we go down into this very large open warehousey type of space, right? And it was probably twice as big. So I have the training room in the kitchen, double it. And there was a giant fountain in the middle of it. And like a dozen sinks. And above each one of these sinks, it said the same things: no poop, no sheds, no droppings. What the hell was this? What kind of freaking super duper taxidermist place is this? And that's what I thought. And then again, all over the walls, spray paint everywhere. Stone versus the FBI. FBI raid such and such date. And we're like, this is weird. Anyway, the buyers are super curious. They're like, I want to see what the hell this is all about. So we're walking through it. And there are these like bays that they've made. And they've got like masking tape with these names on it. And it's like sapphire crystal and fire diamond and all these things. And I'm like, okay, maybe drugs. Maybe that's what it's like. My immediate thought was drugs at this point, right? I'm like, okay, no, maybe that's not it. Anyway, there was tons of these bays. And we're getting curious, we're getting farther to the back of the building. And there is a giant enclosure. And it has a giant glass sliding door on it. And it says Princess Diamond over the top of the thing. And I'm looking at it and it is a reptile enclosure. And giant big limb and whatever you would think in a big snake enclosure. I'm like, okay, skins, sheds, poops, this guy, this like snakes, right? And then we go to the door to the left and there is like an old order form. And I am not even kidding or exaggerating these figures. It says 5,000 boa constrictors, 2,000 ball pythons, thousands and thousands and thousands of snake numbers. And I don't do no flicking. right? So I'm like, no, okay, do we really need to go this? Buyer thought this was the coolest thing ever. They wanted to see the whole property. So we go through it, go into the next go into the next half of the freaking outbuilding. It's a massive outbuilding. And it's about the size of the training room right here. And it is full of grates, like these trough things with grates. And it is just full of eggshells, like thousands and thousands of eggshells.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, they're like, I'm looking at this and I'm mapping the map. I'm like, there were no shit. 5,000 snakes and 2,000 snakes that these guys were breeding. They were breeding snakes. Creeping me out. I don't like this. We're leaving immediately. Whatever, we walk through the rest of it. Continue, snake, reptile, paraphernalia, garbage everywhere. FBI, painting, shit everywhere. Anyways, so we're leaving. Buyer's like, yeah, I don't want snake house. Snake house. So it was the last showing of the day. So we're getting ready to leave and I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna call them. Curiosity killed me, right? So I call the number, straight to voicemail. I was like, hey, I just walked through home. There's some story. My buyer's interested. I want to know the story behind it, right? Hang up. And as I'm walking, the buyer leaves. I was like, look, it's a giant property. It's gonna take me time to lock up. You guys leave. So I lock up the property, and as I'm walking out, I noticed the neighbor, there was no fence in the backyard, and I noticed the neighbor in the backyard. And he is just curling up a garden hose. I'm like, sure, maybe the neighbor knows what's going on. So I got to ask him, I was like, hey man, do you know what the story is with this building back here? And he goes, yeah, it's mine. I'm like,
No.
okay. Well, what happened? He gives me this giant story about how he was breeding snakes, but he didn't have, the licensing was, Lehigh was fighting the license, but it's not true. Giant drama story. The FBI raided the place, took everything. And I was like, that's crazy. I go, I'm curious, did you really have 5,000 snakes? He goes, yeah, I got 2,000 in this building behind me.
Oh my God.
And behind me, there's another giant
No.
place. Apparently his family owned a bunch of land. Anyway, he's growing snakes again. And I was like, well, anyway, I called you, no need to return my call. I got your story all forwarded onto the buyer. By the time I get to my car, he forwards me a YouTube link and says, I'm not a bad guy. I just wanted you to know my story. So he sends me this YouTube link and it's it like talks about the whole lawsuit and it opens with like Darth Vader fighting off lightsaber beams about how he's not a bad guy and all this stuff, right? So then obviously I Googled the lawsuit and everything. Turns out he went to Brazil. He legally purchased a one-of-a-kind albino python, smuggled it back to the US, and then was breeding said python into these special names like Sapphire Diamond and all this stuff. Princess Diamond was the name of the snake. It was a giant white albino snake of some kind. And apparently that DNA bred like all these different morphs.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
I have 4 snakes. So I
Morphs.
love
There you go.
Snakes over here.
They also included his website. I found out they are very, very colorful looking snakes
Yeah.
and all these different snakes and yeah. So.
Wow.
that's my experience.
Hell of a story.
Snake house.
All right. Lisa? Cruella?
I don't know if I can top Snake House, but I'll try. Okay, so yeah, short sale days. Oh, guys, every time somebody says, let's go back to short sales, so we can afford a house, you don't want to go there. There are some messed up stories. And a lot of them are involving tenants who are living there. We had one in Santa Quin that, you walk in, there was not a square foot of carpet on the ground that did not have some kind of feces on it. It had the big fly strips that were hanging everywhere from the wall, the ceilings that were covered. And in the bathroom, the tenants stopped paying, for all the utilities, and so there were buckets full of the human feces back in there. And then all the drug paraphernalia all over the countertops and in the bathrooms and all the needles and everything. Oh yeah, it was beautiful back then. So, okay, but that wasn't the worst. So there was one.
word.
That wasn't the scariest. That was just annoying tenants who were, right, and it was the teenagers that would come, like the mom let the teenagers and all their friends come. So it was awesome. So, yeah, hey, it was a thing. That's where they would hang out. But, all right, so there was one that I was heading out. One of my investors wanted to meet an owner who wanted to short sell his house. So I'm driving, I'm like, I can't remember if it was Payson, Salem, somewhere around in there. So I told my husband, he's like, so what are you doing tonight? I'm like, well, I'm heading down here. It was, a little later on in the season, so it was getting dark early. My husband's like, I'll get off work early. Why don't I just come with you? We'll make a date night of it. I'm like, all right, but if not, no big deal. If you end up getting tied up at work, no big deal. Luckily, my husband came with me this time, so he's in the car, pitch black. We're at the end of a dead end street and there's trees. Utah's not known for the lush greenery, but this one had a bunch of greenery around it. So it was pretty secluded feeling. Get out, no street lights. The owner is standing at the door. Big guy, tear tats all the way down his face and everything. I'm like, all right, no big deal. And start talking to him. And I'm looking at the house, and back in the short sale days, the property preservation companies would come to a vacant house, change out the locks and put their own lock on the door so that the owners couldn't get back in. So we get over there and there is this padlock. I'm not kidding. It was like the size of a book, it was this huge thing on the door. And I'm like, wow, that property preservation company did you dirty here. That was huge. I've never seen anything like that. And he's like, actually, that wasn't the property preservation company. That was the cops. I'm like, oh, and he says, these holes in here, these are the bullet holes where they were shooting at me through the door. And he goes, I guess I should disclose, I just got out of prison and this is my first time back to the house since I went away. I'm like, what do you say? What do you do? You're standing there in the dark with somebody. And you just have to laugh and you're like, how's the PTSD going? You doing okay? And my husband comes with me. We go around to the back. At that point, I'm like, behind my back going, come here. So we go around to the back to check out the back of the place. And he's wanting to stand there and talk. We have deadbolts back there as well. It's even darker. So I'm like, well, why don't I get a hold of him and see if there's a way to get into your house? I've got to run. I've got another appointment. So we take off for that one. But I was really glad my husband had come along with me on that one. I'm getting some eyelash in my eye or something here while we're talking. Okay, and then there's just some homes that you walk into and you're like, oh, bad things happened here. You're just like, I'm not staying in this house any longer. Another vacant house go into, you get down, some of those, you just gotta know, you just gotta leave, but we get, there's a lot of the vacant homes where you find somebody's sleeping in a closet or traces of somebody there in the back, hair on the back of your head, neck just kind of stands straight out. You're like, no, we're not going any further. We're out of here. But this one was kind of crazy because you go down, they had a full adult size cage, like bolted into the cement in the unfinished basement. This was not a dog cage down there, guys. It was this heavy duty metal stuff, and it was folded like securely down into the basement. So anyway, yeah, there's some creepy places out there.
I do not
And we
miss
get
the
to see
short
them
sale
all,
days.
No, exactly, not
Everyone's
at all.
saying, really creepy. I don't have nightmares about that. Donna?
Okay, I got one. I got a good one. Scared the bejesus out of me. All right, so this was probably, they've been in about 25, 26 years, so it was probably about 20 or 15 years ago. I walked, I sent out just listed postcards and I got a phone call from this guy that wanted to list his house that I'd never met before. And he was just a little bit strange on the phone, just a little bit, enough that when I told my husband, I've got this listing appointment, I'm just a little bit worried about it, the guy's a little strange. So we came up with a code that if I get there and I feel unsafe because it's close by our house, that I ask him to bring the seller's disclosures. I feel like we got a good plan. And so I pull up to the house and the guy's standing outside. And most women will know this, when you get that certain look, but somebody's a little too happy to see you. We usually get sometimes for guys. And I got that look and I was like, shit. And so I'm nervous and I introduce myself. He does not say a word. And he just waves me around the yard without speaking. He's got every like sprinkler on and stuff, and he waves me in the backyard. And I'm like, why is this guy not talking? He's not saying a word. And I'm just asking him questions and I'll say yes or no or wave me to the next part of the backyard. So finally he wants to go in the house. And by this point, I'm like, I'm not gonna go in this house with him, am I? You know? And so I walk up to the door and I can hear the TV on in the front room and I can see shoes and it looks like it's family, like there's different ages maybe. And I said, oh, is your family inside? And he waved, or he shakes his head, yes. Still has not spoken a word. We walk into the house and he walks behind me and in the living room is a bed. And I was like, oh, I am dead. I am dead meat. And I go, just a second, I gotta hurry and call my husband. So I hurry and call Luke and he's mowing the lawn and I said, hey, I need you to bring the seller's disclosures. You need them now? I'm like, yeah, I need them now. He did not get the message. Out, which is usually not Luke. He did not even know. Well, luckily my mother-in-law had heard the story. And so I kept on, the guy's trying to wave me into more into the house. And it's like the 1970s Ramblers, so they're not that big. But I can see in the kitchen and it's a very dated kitchen. And I can hear all the water in the house going. Like every sink's turned on, every tub. He's got all the cupboard doors open in the kitchen. Let's see, what else? He didn't have like the burner in the stove, like the electric stoves. He had a lamp in it. But he wants me to go downstairs. I'm like, oh, hell no. Oh, no. And I'm just like, so tell me about the kitchen. I said, so what year is the stove? It's like an avocado green stove. Still will not say a word, you know? He just kind of points at things. He will not speak a word. And my mother-in-law just happened to call when I was in the house. And I hurried and says, oh, I gotta get this. My mother-in-law heard the conversation with me and my husband. And she goes, oh, I was calling to see if you want some apples. And I was like, nope. And she goes, oh, I'm sorry, you're probably on that appointment right now, right? And I was like, yes. And I was saying it in a way, she was like, wait a second, are you okay? I'm like, no. And she goes, do you want me to call you Luke? I said, yes. She goes, okay, I'll do it right now. So thank heavens, she did. So anyways, Luke got there shortly after and I was just keeping him busy with the dated kitchen, like kind of point out everything in the kitchen. And Luke got there. Luke knocks on the door, comes in. The dude could suddenly talk. He did not say one word the whole time we were there, but he could suddenly talk. And so he was talking and then he takes us downstairs. There's no like any furniture downstairs, but a bed in the family room downstairs. And I was like, yeah, I would have been dead. I'm pretty sure I would have been dead. And I think he had done like too many drugs in his life or something. And he kind of gone a little cuckoo. And anyways, finding out that house was in a trust and he couldn't even sign for it. But I think we ended up leaving and he ended up calling me later. He's like, are we gonna get this house listed or what? And I was like, yeah, I'm not calling him back. I'm not gonna be dead meat. And then one day we were like in Harmon's and my husband's like, there's that guy. And I'm like, hurry, get away. Yeah, so it was pretty scary. I thought I was like in Silence of the Lambs or something. It was pretty damn scary.
Everyone say,
Out of that house.
So Isaiah has a secondhand story from his mom's career.
Okay,
You have to come in.
okay, so. Who here knows Marita?
What's Maria's last name?
What's her last name?
Dimple, or
Dimple.
it's like, yes.
She owns, or she's part of what, Rockin' something? You tell how good of a son I am. Anyways, so when my mom first started off, she was a showing assistant for Marita. And I don't remember what she was doing. I don't know if it was an open house or if she was doing a showing. But I know that she was like busy all day and this was the last property. I think she was showing, so she was doing And she called my dad, he had just gotten off of work. And the client was on their way to the house and my mom wanted to do a walkthrough, but it was near our neighborhood at the time. And so my dad was like, I'll just stop by, I haven't seen you all day. So he meets her there and she walks in first and he's in his car pulling up and she hears a noise upstairs. She walks in and I don't remember if it was in her own house, but there was someone in the house. And she looked up and he was standing on like the banister of the staircase. And he started walking down the stairs and then my dad came through the front door and he took off down the hall and then broke one of the back windows. And she called Marita, they called the police, and it was a break-in and there was like someone who was living there for like 3 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah, quick and brief, but yeah.
Everyone say, ooh. All right, any other scary stories to share?
Yes, Margarita.
I just thought of one.
Okay,
Well, this actually happened, before we moved in. The sellers of our home, they were, really anxious to, move out because they were in some debt. So, after we got it, purchased, then, they had left right away. And so the house was vacant, under our name, but vacant for about like 3-ish weeks. And during that time, my husband would go over and get that home like situated so that we can live in it. Painted, he was doing a lot of interior work. And the original owners had like a little dollhouse, those houses for kids outside, I don't know what they're called, but it's like a mini house. And so this one time we all went to go clean the house. And my son, my 4-year-old, at the time, he wanted to go into the little house. I'm like, not yet, we're working inside, we'll play later. And then he kept insisting, I'm like, okay. And before that, I got a smell of like cigarette outside. I'm like, maybe it's the neighbors or I don't know. But then I go to open the door, the little kid door, and I have my son behind me. And oh my goodness, it scared the freaking crap out of me because there were some homeless people living in there. During that time, and oh God. At that time, I like froze and I didn't know what to say. And then I'm like, give me a sec. And then I tried to call my husband and he couldn't hear because he was making so much noise in the house working. And so they just ran out. And then my husband came out like through the carport and that's where the garage, the only exit was. And so he like kind of tried to stop them, but he was like confused, like, who are they? And so, yeah, there were some homeless people there. And there was some like bags of clothes and sleeping bags and just like food. It was so weird. And then funny story later on was that we put the sleeping bags out by the front of the driveway so that if they went to come back for their sleeping bags, they could get it. And well, they never came back. Then later on, my son had to go on a camping trip. And then so here we are looking for our stuff. And we're like, where are our, what's it called, sleeping bags? And it turned out that we threw away the ones that we thought were theirs, but it was ours. And it had opened the garage and there was like my husband's spray paint that he uses for work and other stuff. That was already out and about, like spread out. So my husband thought it was my oldest, but it was that. Yeah, it was really cool. So I have my husband get security cameras on our house.
yeah, probably a good idea. Probably a good idea. Everyone say, woo. All right, Kim has one.
Okay, this happened like 4 weeks ago. My older brother is buying his first home. He's in his mid-40s, and so they can only afford like boomer houses. Like the boomers are, well, I don't want to say boomers, like the older generation that's passing away, and so a lot of these homes are like in their original condition. And I think the family went through and they like updated some stuff and whoever must have passed away, they must have. Might not have been happy about that, I don't know, but we looked through the whole house, we looked through all of the closets and everything. We ended in the basement and there was this epic like bar down there with like red lights and everything. It smelled like ozone. It was awesome. The lights were like buzzing. We looked through every closet again. I just want to really like express that. Door, closet, everything. Older basement, small windows, you know the type, very dark. So we're congregating in this epic bar area, discussing the house. Do we love it? Can we like see ourselves here? And then we hear this.
Oh,
We look at each other, we're like, oh, hell no. So take, but it might come up, that's never taken to.
Never
tell us what it was.
Guys, I don't know, and I don't believe in the paranormal, so.
We exited.
I would have been running.
We left,
Yeah.
no.
All right, any other scary stories to tell in the dark?
I'm really impressed with the names of these.
I know.
Good.
Thank you. And this one, did you guys have that book series, the scary stories to tell in the dark book series? If I could miss my calling of being, that could be my contribution, I could just name that. All right, so you should all have a little slip of paper. Please choose your favorite scary story and vote.
But I only have one. If you guys can turn your pens back in over there when you guys are done, that would be great in that little black.
You let me to gather these ones there. Just flesh them.
Yeah.
Yours in already. They were all very scary. Thank you. Thank you. Very scary. Very scary. All right, we're gonna tally these up. Do I have everyone's? Yeah, going once, going twice?
Sure.
I'm gonna go with yes, I do. Lindsay, entertain everyone while I read these.
Tell everyone what you're
How about
dressed
you
as.
say them out loud and I'll just put a tally next to
No,
them.
I'm just gonna tell you.
It's
So
not so.
anyway, tell them what you're dressed as. Tell us what you're dressed as.
The boring broker.
That is what she does.
Tell people she's like in a coven,
Yeah.
like a wig, you know, all that.
Which like,
You know what I thought of a good costume today, but I didn't have the stuff for it, is getting a board and then a pen that says NAR.
That is very
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
One of my neighbor's daughters, she is, well, they did their pumpkin contest for their family. She put a Boeing airplane on hers. That was like a scary thing.
Yeah.
Pretty funny. I don't know what you want me to do.
Can you see?
Dance, okay?
Yeah.
Tell us a joke.
Yeah.
Make us laugh.
fun story. I was, going on this listing appointment, single guy in this 8,000 square foot home. And it was kind of castle-like, like it had these, just whatever they're called, the. Yeah. And one of those was just sex room. Just walked right in, had a big old trapeze hanging, bolted from the ceiling, hanging down the center of the room. Yeah, that was awesome.
All right, drum roll, please. Very close contest. Every story had the, one had the most votes. Sorry. One had the most votes. Apparently, in this room, they're all very afraid of snakes. Well, we have very good story to tell in the dark. So Eladio, you can come and choose from today's prizes. We have this Welcome to Halloween Town decoration. We have a haunted house cookie kit. We have a Welcome to the Kitchen Hocus Pocus, candles, body butter and scrub, and then choose one of
So the
those.
question is, do I want something for the kids or the wife?
That's what it.
Kids or the wife, that's
The
what.
wife,
they sound-
the wife, that's
right?
the best.
Thank you.
If I pick that, they're gonna make me do it.
Which is good.
We'll make the wife happy.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
I have
Oh, dude.
kind of a funny story that kind of goes along with yours. So I had a listing and it was during the short sale days. It was a brand new neighborhood, so it was in West Jordan, so all the houses looked alike. And there was a lot of houses for sale, and so my house kept on getting agents showing up and not checking the address. And they would show it on accident. So we even had to put a note on the door, like, please verify the address and that you have an appointment before you come in. And so, one day I got a call from my client who was very mad because she did the adult parties. And she had just got a shipment in. And so she had everything laid out, all the orders laid out. And so when the new buyers came walking through, they saw
All the things.
all of the things, yes, all of it. I found it very funny. I felt like, as an agent, I kept, she walked into that, and she, also our kids were in dance, so she had like, she was making uniforms or dance things where she had glitter and all this stuff around there. We're like, what is going on in that house? But yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. I thought it was like, as an agent, can you imagine walking into that, like, what in the world?
That is
She
hilarious.
wasn't happy, but I thought it was pretty funny. Yeah, that's funny.
This is not my story, but agent that I used to work with, it was her very, very first deal. And she was doing the final walkthrough of the property. And the couple that she was with had 4 little boys. And they did the walkthrough, they were very rowdy, like they were jumping all over the place during the showing, very, very rowdy kids. They final walkthrough, they're standing out in front of the property, talking about congratulations, thanks so much for working with me. And she's talking with the parents. And all of a sudden, she feels warm liquid on her legs. And one of the kids is peeing. On her feet.
Oh my gosh, that story would have won.
Well, it wasn't my-
Still won either way. Oh, man.
Other kids thought it was funny. She like moves away. He is apparently very fast at getting to business as well. He starts attempting to pee on her feet as well.
Oh my gosh.
The parents were very apologetic, apparently.
Apparently.
I thought that was hilarious.
All right,
I'm
so
kidding.
for our costume contest, we need everyone who is wearing a costume. What? Oh, it's the next slide. Haha. For our costume contest, we need everyone who is wearing a costume to come up and introduce themselves and then share why you should list with them or work with them as your agent. So here's my example.
Did you
just get
punished for dressing up?
I am Ariel in my villain era, and you should list with me because I'm no longer part of your world, I am running it.
Oh.
All right, who's that? Who's that?
Okay.
You better hurry and leave.
I'll let you think first.
And nobody prepared for this, Robin.
You're building skills here.
Creativity.
Build that elevator pitch.
And why is coming?
Okay.
I told him we weren't doing it for a minute and then walked away and then I was wrong. Because Robin told me to tell him and then I was like, maybe we're not.
I know her pitch,
What? And I'm so.
perfect.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, so Jen, you should work with because she's perfect. I love it. Yes, she can be in the contest. I'm not in, but you can.
Oh, why, if I can, you can.
Nope. I'm a team leader and I make the rules, so no.
No, she's spicy today.
Yeah, face tattoos on me and red hair and I get very spicy.
Yeah. You got yours, Mario?
All right, do we have
What the
elephant
hell was
teams,
I
like workshop teams together?
He's gonna take care of drainings, right?
Yeah, list with me and the plumbing's free.
You take your picture.
I'm gonna say something very unsavory about Lane Pike, but that's.
All right, to avoid that, we're saying Mr. Martin. Uh-huh.
I'm a pumpkin.
You'll always be around.
There you go. All right, Elizabeth Kenna, she's a pumpkin, she'll always be around. What did you say, pumpkin?
I'll always be around.
No.
Oh.
But it was really.
That's all right, we can throw things in it and help each other
Space
out,
up.
yes. All right,
Cruella, huh?
Cruella, what do we got?
I can. Something along the lines, I can always envision how to make something new out of something old.
There you go. I like it. There you go.
That's good. That's all right.
What's with me? I'll steal your dog.
Keep more that one. That's a donation from each sale they made. So they can make it. All right, how about Thor, who let himself go? Why should we list with Thor, who let himself go?
Fat Thor, who better than the god of thunder to strike your tenants down?
Very good. Yeah.
That's gone.
All right, Beth, tell us about your costume.
I'm just a has-been ballerina.
I like it. Has-been ballerina. All right, let's go
Retired.
elevator pitch for a has-been ballerina. Why should we list or work with a has-been ballerina?
She's on
Keep you on your
point.
toes. She's on her point. I like it.
To this.
I don't know, if this would be like a good thing to do on our normal.
It's true. All right, Sully, why should we list or sell with Sully?
Well, can anything still?
Because he, oh wait, no.
In your nice
Or.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, what, Shauna has a good one.
Sell with Sully scaring at deals in a hurry.
I like it. I like it. All right, that was good.
Marketing queen.
Yeah. I'm lucky I'm having.
All right, we're going with Jack Skellington here, because if you saw the inside of his jacket, will you?
I got targeted.
Yeah.
I'm not really dressed up, guys.
It's
Yeah.
the pumpkin king.
My bat wing.
Yes,
Yes.
okay. So we're gonna go Jack Skellington. What's our marketing for Jack?
I think I would be put in this situation.
I
I'm bones on the ground, ready to door knock for people.
like it. I like it.
Yeah.
No bones about it.
No bones.
No bones about it. It's your man. All right, and then we have a very terrifying Joker. So Joker, we are we are sharing our elevator pitch. Why should people buy or sell with you, the Joker?
Yeah, it has to fit your costume.
I kind of told him I was gonna look, he's like, ooh.
Well. All I can say.
Wait, hang on.
I don't joke around. People nowadays are too self-centered. And they don't look after one another. So when you hire the Joker, you get transparency and honesty. Maybe you don't want to hear what you want to hear, but I will look after you. And that's why people like working with me, because I give them what you don't have in a world.
All right, so please vote for your favorite costume. Vote for your favorite costume.
It's still erect.
Perfect, then.
Who needs a pen? Okay, here's.
He's got a Farrington coat.
What are
Oh.
we doing? Voting your
Oh,
best,
nice.
your favorite costume.
Oh, okay.
Sally.
Here's.
That's in search of this Sally. Oh, you got him?
Here's this.
Anyone need a card or a pen?
Slowly. That was Sally.
Everyone have a paper and a pen.
Oh,
You want
yeah.
staff members as well.
Vote too.
Whoa.
Oh, I'm not in there right now. I am Ariel in her villain era, but I am not, and I am not eligible for entry. Look how full is the tissue box. It's very creative. I like it quite a lot. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, here's these two.
I did, I gave it.
I got him, I think I got one. One more. Right.
We got along. All right, so we will tally these up. Chili is in the kitchen and
I hope
ready,
so.
or do we need to set up things still?
So, we're still waiting for 2 chilies.
Okay, so we will wait for 5 minutes for those 2 chilies.
Nick, are you here?
He's here.
Okay, then.
So we're waiting on-
I'm just waiting for mine to get figured out.
Excellent, all
Oh,
right.
maybe just one.
Okay, so we're waiting on 1 chili, so we will give 5 minutes of just merriment in general hanging out. In 5 minutes, please try the chilies, vote for your favorite, and then there's bowls, so make yourself a full serving of whichever your favorite was. Enjoy the potluck, happy Halloween. Scare me a lot next week and let's have double digits on listings, all right? All right. Okay.
Your chili. Yeah. Why?
Why? I'll see, I did get stuff for the kids. Look at that.